Thank you. I came across you about 3.5 years ago, and I'm a songwriter. There's a lot of things I love to do, but that's one of them.
Because it's the receptive mode or nothing. So when you hit that sweet spot, it's nice.
It's better than nice. Throughout most of what I recall, which I don't spend a lot of time much anymore, except on these wonderful things that I have experienced in my life, and I used to think too much, but I used to think that these moments that I had, which now I have accepted as being the moments that make this even richer.
Maybe the moments that even created it to begin with.
Yeah, I didn't know then.
Yeah?
I felt it then, but I didn't know that that was my indicator. And so, like crying at a symphony when I was 8 years old. When the cello started playing, I didn't know why. Or hearing a certain song or a certain lyric and I was never able to...
You didn't know that you were in the receptive mode of all of this non-physical energy that was having that moment, and that you were open and allowing it to be translated through you. You didn't know that, did you?
That's it. Yeah. And then
you didn't know that you were in concert with the composer of the song. You didn't know that the original creators were right there flowing with you.
Yeah,
as you're on the leading edge, feeling the manifestation through you, using your vortex as their way to realize it in the full fleshed out version. Didn't know that then.
You can just keep going. But when I came across you and started listening and hearing the processes, and it was real evident to me that I had a lot of work to do. But because of those past experiences...
Maybe a lot of work to be consistent and therefore mastery of it, but not a lot of work to understand it, not a lot of work to know it, not a lot of work to trust it.
Okay, touche. And the trusting of it, and it's not something that's provable, and it's not something that I can fix, because it's not broken. But it feels so good to feel, and the word I want to use is the connection. And I don't know what it's to, but I can see it when there's a squirrel going up a tree, or I can see it when there's rain falling on the street, or I can feel it when I'm...
Well, it's an openness to allowing the broader non-physical part of you to experience the moment. It's you open and allowing yourself to experience all of us experiencing. We're experiencing through you, whether you allow yourself to be in the receptive mode to know it or not. But when you tune to the frequency that is us, so that you catch us in the act of experiencing. Many years ago, Esther was standing down at the gate. They lived on an acre. It was an old farm road. And Esther had walked down to open the big metal gate, and Jerry was bringing the car. And as she stood there, she waited for about 5 minutes as she got down there. And suddenly she realized that she was having an unusual moment. She could see colors in the sky that were not normal for her to see. There was a depth and a brilliance to what she was looking at that was new to her. And then she began smelling the fragrance of blossoms that were not anywhere in her vicinity. And then she began feeling the feeling of the wind upon her skin, and hearing birds and wind that she had no visual evidence of. And then she said, "Abraham, it's you, isn't it?" And we said, "Yep, you caught us again. We're peeping through your eyes, and we're smelling through your nose, and we're listening through your ears, and we're feeling through your skin." And that's when Esther really had her strongest awareness of how involved we are in her day-to-day experience, and how much we revel in the leading edginess of that which is her.
So you feel the same way.
But this is the thing that we want you to hear. We've always been feeling that way, but it was her sublime receptive mode that let her feel what we feel. That's harmony. That's what you're wanting. We're always there with you. We're always guiding you. We always know what the path of least resistance is for you. We always know what the path of most allowance is for you. They're the same thing. And by path of most allowance, we mean what notes or rhythms will strike you the most, or what route will give you the most pleasure, or what conversation with what person will be the most meaningful right here and now, given the level of resistance or allowing that you've got going on. But when you get into one of those modes through your work primarily, and Esther through her work primarily, when you get into one of those modes where you are allowing full connection to all of that, so that there is no resistance present in any moment, that's when you really understand how we really feel about whatever it is you are really focused upon in this moment in time. Because we're not thinking about what you did yesterday or last year. We're not thinking about where you're going. We are focused with you now in relationship to the now of your vortex and the now of your relationship to it, you see. So when you get into that vibrational place where you allow the blending of who you are now with all that you really are, that's what you're describing. And that's when that beautiful music comes from you. That's when all of that wonderful experience comes. And the outcome is not nearly as important as the process that leads you to it, is it?
No. Since I'm here, I have to take advantage of this. There was
Now, stop for just a moment. We want to hear you fully, but think about what you just said. Since I'm here. Since I'm here. So, since I'm here in the receptive mode, I think I'll take advantage fully of what the source within me knows about what I'm talking about here and now. Since I'm here in the receptive mode, those are the words that we want you to say to yourself often. Since I'm here in the receptive mode, I might as well take advantage of what being in the receptive mode means.
yeah, milk
That's
it.
so big.
Yeah. Becoming. You.
But you're relating it in that statement to, since I'm here with you, with Abraham pouring through Esther, since I'm here. But we want you to put it in that other context. Since I'm here in the receptive mode.
How I feel. Right now. This is
Important, powerful, clear,
easy.
eager.
It's just
easy.
easy
Yeah.
when you're right. When you sit there, it just comes and you maybe fiddle with it a little bit, but it's not because something's wrong with it. It's not that.
Are you writing it or are you receiving
So
it?
that's, yeah. Yeah. Sometimes,
Every time?
much of the time.
All the time?
A part of me doesn't care to know where it's coming from because it feels so glorious.
Yeah.
But there is a small part sometimes when I'm asked, how'd you come up with that?
Well, how did you? Well, you lived life and you put it in the vortex and it gestated and it grew and it got bigger and bigger and bigger and source added to it and the cooperative components all came together and you chilled out and were happy and you got in the receptive mode and bam! You did step 1, step 2 happened, you did step 3. That's where it comes from. It's like here, we are offering, and so are you, we are offering a vibration and Esther's finding the words. Well, that's what's happening to you. You are receiving of the vibration that you're translating into the words, or into the rhythm, or into the note, or into the conversation, or into the direction, or into the getting on the freeway and going that way instead of that way.
So I have a lot of fun ahead of me.
Yeah. Because conscious creation is ever so much more delicious than accidental creation. That's what you're really talking about. You've felt the receptive mode and you've known, but that's why you've never been able to tell someone how you do it or where it comes from. So now if someone says, where does it come from? You can say, I suspect that somehow I just get into this place where I can hear something that is being presented in a very powerful way. And I also have the sense that it's been there long before I heard it. It's like the story or the query. If a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, did it make a sound? The answer is no, because unless there's an ear there to translate it. So who is the creator of this? In other words, Source is projecting it, but unless there is a receiver there to translate it, then it does not happen. And that's why we are all in this together.
That's what I meant by connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so
Really good.
much.
Really, really good.